All right, today on Dirt Sociable, we have some in-studio guests, Ben Allcox and Luke Allcox.
Yeah, we're excited to get them on the show and talk about some short course racing and just see where the conversations go.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a little bit different than we usually have. We'll probably be talking a lot about history in the past and probably a lot of laughs and good times.
As long as we give them headphones that work.
Hey, we got 1 year over there,
now.
2 years over here.
1 year's good now.
Yeah. So you guys got your bourbon to split,
Yeah.
One to share.
your Miller Lights and your Bush Apples.
We're on a budget, all right?
Yes, that's
Just working with what we got.
all we
man.
can handle is one.
So if you guys have watched our previous interviews, we like to do a warm-up section, which gives you guys an opportunity to talk about pretty much what brought you to short course and just a quick, brief overview of your history. And then hopefully the more in-depth questions as we go, we'll kind of peel more information out of you. So you guys want to Rochambeau, rock, paper, scissors or something to figure out who goes first?
No, he came first.
Go first.
Wow, what?
Oh, what's the question? Let's.
Yeah.
No, you just give us a brief overview of your racing history and
Oh man, starting when?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
birth.
Yeah, that's where it starts.
That becomes a problem.
Yeah, I went to my first Crandon when I was like 6 months old, so it's been pretty much a lifelong deal. My dad and actually my father-in-law, Dave Hawker's, legend of the sport, they used to race together way back in the 70s and 80s, and then my dad's just had us into it our whole lives, basically. So, yeah, we've been around it since forever. So.
When did you guys start racing, actually?
I started in light buggy in 2014 with some help of a family friend and stuff. We Dick Gilson, he's actually Matt Gerald's uncle. So that's
my uncle too.
this is a long story.
Allegedly.
It's gonna get, yeah. Not to get too far into the weeds, but we ended up building a car. Kurt Gerald tacked a chassis up for us and built an engine, and then I welded it all up. This was early on in my career as a fabricator, and I raced 3 seasons, I believe, of light buggy before I took a break, and then he started getting a little older, and we decided we wanted to build a single buggy after that, and we built that in my garage. It's a really long story. I don't know how in-depth we want to get.
We got all the time.
Yeah.
And there's a cooler full of beer down there, and there's a fridge over there with more. So you go in depth as much as you want.
So I raced 3 years of light buggy, and the third year I got frustrated with it because
Chicago.
So I started out, and it was mediocre. Like, I had decent engines from Kurt, but just budget builds, it's whatever. It's all I needed at the time. And then the third year I decided to really like step my shit up, and I paid Kurt for a good engine, and he gave me a bullet, man. And we showed up at Chicago, and I led every lap but one.
What year was that Chicago run?
That must have been 17, because it was the year I quit. So
Okay, I thought you quit in 16.
no, I quit in 16 because it was 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first race of the season in 2016, I led every lap. And, Paul Hayward passed me on the last lap, and then spun out, but it was really dusty, and I didn't see him spin out, so I T-boned him wide open.
Which there was this incredible just defiance of physics when that happened. So on the side of a buggy chassis, they have torsion springs, and there's this little snout that sticks out the side, and the front skid plate is kind of like slanted. And so when Ben got Paul lined up and T-boned him, that torsion snub punched a hole straight through it. It was 1/4 inch aluminum, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's 1/4 inch aluminum skid plate, but in the process of doing that, it made it look identical to a Pringle. So it's like
The aluminum Pringle.
super notoriously created the aluminum Pringle.
Did that end the season then?
No, so that day I DNF'd, broken oil cooler, broke a bunch of shit, and then we put it back together. We actually put Paul's car back together that night too. Then the next day I DNF'd because something else broke. Probably maybe just poor prep. I don't know. I think like a distributor wire fell off
we
or something.
did crack a fuel cell down there too.
Yeah, I broke a lot of shit that day. But I went from leading the entire race to DNF in the first weekend, and it goes off points for starting position. So the next race, I start in the back. Back then, there were like 40 cars in light buggy. So
That was like the heyday of light
yeah,
buggy.
Yeah.
So
It was tough.
you're with a bunch of squirrels, and you're just getting teed up in every corner. And I bent a trailing arm at Spring Crandon, I think,
Yep.
which it's a decent amount of time to build a light buggy arm. You got to sandblast the old arm, cut all the extra shit off of it, laser cut all these plates, weld them on. It's kind of like a long process to build one arm. Then the next round, I got teed up again and bent another arm. And I think after that, I said, fuck it, I'm out. Like, I'm done with light buggy. This sucks. All the amount of money I spent in the off season and how it was going, I just got fed up and was like, piss on it. And then a couple years later, I started helping Matt Gerald out with for JD when JD was racing single buggy and Matt was prepping for him. I came to help, and I spotted for JD that whole season, and that's when me and Luke kind of got exposed to single buggy, and we were like, it's a older group of dudes. They always race each other clean for the most part. The cars hold up to contact a lot better. They're real race cars compared to light buggies, so
They're also like super easy to prep and like not maintenance free, but low maintenance.
yeah. We were kind of like, after being exposed to it for that year, we were like, man, this class is the cat's ass. You know, like this is. Then I think the following year, JD wanted to get rid of that car. He was going to super buggy, so he was going to sell his single buggy, and we bought it from him because it had a couple good engines, a couple good transmissions, a full set of shocks. So we just kind of took all the parts off of it and then built a chassis in my garage, and that's how we ended up where we're at today. Basically, that was like what, 5 years ago, or
That was 2019 that we built that car.
so like 5 years ago,
Yeah.
6 years ago.
6 years, yeah.
Nice. That's quite the journey through that. I definitely remember the 40 cars in light buggy. Though.
Yeah,
Is it,
yeah,
like
my-
all lined up at Crandon for the land rush, and you're like, how many rows? I think it was like 3
It was
deep.
3 or 4 rows, yeah, because
Yeah.
it was my first year. There were 44 cars at Spring Crandon, and I was like lined up, like, holy shit, what am I got myself into? You know, like,
It's just like the pissed off bumblebees coming through.
oh yeah, it
trails.
was crazy.
It was crazy.
That was wild.
So you pitting for Matt is actually how we really hit it off, because I was doing my UTV program
Yeah.
right next to Matt.
What year did you start racing?
2016 was only a partial year because they just ran.
Okay.
Is that when UTV started?
That I was in the first UTV, and they ran pro stock with pro mod, and
Yeah, and that's when they were like 800 numbers and 700 numbers and stuff, when
Yep.
they still had class identification beyond number plate colors.
yeah, because first one was 827, then I went to 927, then I went back to 827, then I went to
you kinda like
27.
number 27.
Yeah, well, as the class grew, it was like there was more money and more high competitiveness getting stuck into pro stock.
Right.
As you certainly know, pro stock has been just wildly developed now.
All the UTV classes.
Yeah,
are-
so I
every
went,
year is insane.
I just kept on dropping down, then back up to pro am, just because I didn't want to get completely wrecked by everybody. And
Yeah, sportsman gets tough.
yeah,
Yeah. Those first couple of years though of side by side racing, it was just like the wild west. Like there was
Yeah, I remember like early Shimmick days.
There's a picture somewhere around here that I saw of early, like the first year at Crandon, and it doesn't even look the same as
Right, like
side-by-side racing
a
now.
race side by
yeah,
side now
this looks
compared
like
to
it's
then
from a
is-
different planet from
Yeah.
where we're at now.
that one's like my third rendition of a cage.
Yes. Yeah.
That's actually when me and you started hanging out.
This
and
was the last year, right?
Is
The
so is
last
that
one.
Kiwani?
second to last year. That's Kiwani. Yeah.
Okay.
That was just like a fun photo shoot deal with
Yeah.
a buddy. But I think the one you're thinking of is over there. And
Yeah.
It's in turn. It's in the
At
finish
the
line
finish
corner,
line
Crandon.
turn. Yeah, yeah.
I had stock shocks. I didn't even buy springs.
Yeah.
And this cage was built like it was going to go and be in a battlefield because it was a tank.
Is that the one that Storm and Norman welded up for you?
Yeah, it was all DOM. It's 1 3/4 DOM, 120 wall.
Straight out of the shipyard.
Yeah.
It now looks like Stone Age stuff.
Yeah.
For,
Looks like a rock bouncer cage.
With how fast UTV stuff has been evolving, it's crazy.
I don't even know if that was like the requirement. I think you went over the requirement for thickness, and I just remember that thing being a tank.
Yeah, that thing, it's still in a trailer. So, you know how Bark River has, like, behind the grandstands, that really old car?
Yeah.
Like, I'll probably have to donate mine within a few years to just
'What year was your side by side? Is that a 16?
16. Yeah, I bought it and then chopped it up and went to town.
Wow.
But the first year was like, I didn't want to commit to cutting plastics. And then as I met somebody, he's like, we're just going to start cutting, man.
Just chop that shit up.
I think the
cut.
best was going into the first weekend of side-by-sides. You could wear open-faced helmets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ended at Park River.
And
Yeah.
that was like quickly changed.
Yeah.
You guys ruined it. The side-by-sides, we raced in moto helmets forever.
Yeah.
Like 30 years.
Yeah, Ben, I remember when you got into light buggy, you ran moto helmet for 2 years probably.
Tell that side-by-side guy steered in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that was
don't know who that guy
gnarly.
was. I hope he's doing well. But, but he did ruin moto helmets for us, and that sucked.
He came out of it, but I mean, I think he was pretty unscathed, but
I don't think it was unscathed. I think
No.
it was,
No, I thought it slipped in between the pad and his head.
yeah, he got,
Yeah, like he was unharmed, but yeah.
But that's sketchy.
he still got his
Yeah.
belt on. Because, like, the doors were, if I remember correctly, the doors were, like, zip tied shut. They were openable doors. It was like the early days.
This was
Yeah.
This was how we learned.
we learned a lot quick
Take
with
notes.
side-by-sides.
Okay, before we get too far off track, Luke,
yeah.
let's get your side of the story.
Yeah. Okay. So I always tell people, like, the first Crandon I ever missed was Crandon 1999 because I was born Labor Day weekend. And then I've literally been there every year since. Although, unlike Ben, who was like super into it growing up, I could care less. Like, going to the racetrack was just this thing that we did. But then in like 2013, well, I guess to preface that, my entire childhood we spent going to the BMX racetrack because Ben didn't lead on with the fact that he raced bicycles for
It's true.
like 5-6 years.
I started when I was 9, and I raced for like 4 years.
4 years. So we would go like every Wednesday to the racetrack down in Oshkosh.
Every Wednesday and Saturday.
Yeah. And so I was like pretty fed up with this stuff, you know? So like when it came to going to the off-road races and stuff, I just didn't really care much.
Anti-racing.
And,
To the
yeah.
max.
But then in 2013, when we started building the car, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Cause at that point I was 13 and getting to be like kind of into working in the garage and stuff. And then when we came around to actually racing the thing in like 2014, when Ben started racing, I was helping spot. He had a coworker that would spot sometimes, so we were kind of trading off. But towards the end, I was like full-time spotter. So I started racing or spotting when I was like 14 years old, and then I got pretty hooked on it, and I've been just kind of hanging around ever since. And yeah, like he said, when the opportunity to buy JD's car came up, we decided to do that. We were talking about doing something before then, you know, as far as like getting into a car together, but we weren't sure what. We talked about like a stock truck or a super stock truck, but we're both little guys, so we can't pick up those big heavy tires. So we decided we'd go with a buggy.
We talked about super buggy too, and
Which-
that would have been a horrible mistake.
Yeah, thank God we didn't do that because they'd be scraping us off of a wall. Dude. We had no business doing
so
that.
far over our heads.
Yeah, so we did a single buggy and we made like a really bad version at first, and that car's
we
been
had
cut up a lot.
no idea what in the hell we were doing when we built that thing. Just like when I built the light buggy, no idea what we're doing. But I think we're finally getting there now.
It's getting pretty close. Yeah, we've done a lot of different stuff with it. That's for sure.
Yeah, you guys have developed that car pretty drastically. I mean, we'll get into it, but I mean, the wing.
Turns out all it needed this whole time was a giant
Just
wing.
needs the wing.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that because even last year, you guys came out Anago
Yeah,
and came from the back and got up to like 4th or 5th.
4th. Yeah, 18th to 4th.
Yeah, and then you're like, I guess we'll just keep on doing a part-time season.
Yeah, well, you know, it's
It
expensive,
would have been.
man.
He probably would have won if it had a giant wing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we got so close.
just that extra wing would have been the difference maker.
Giant wing, dude.
They outlawed it in the pro classes for a reason, man. It's a
Yeah,
huge advantage.
it's been very controversial, believe it or not.
Yeah. Mixed opinions.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So speaking of tracks and wings and all that, so Out of all your years of racing, what's your favorite track to race on?
I would have to go probably ERX.
ERX.
It's tough because like you have to subtract the drive.
It's literally far away.
Yeah, right. Otherwise, Bark River I really enjoy, and that was like probably one of my best finishes early on in my career or whatever. And it is a fun track, and like in the back section you can really make hay.
It's number 2.
But yeah,
ERX.
the dirt, the
Bark
prep.
River have supporting up on the wall.
Oh, there you go.
Bark River is great. The people that run Bark River is great. But
Yeah. Yep.
ERX, man, that dirt.
Yeah.
That dirt is hard to beat.
Yes.
I thought you just liked it for the whoop section.
The whoop section's fun.
That
In a
is a ton
single
of
buggy,
fun.
if you hit it 4th gear tapped, you just grease them.
Yep.
Like it's like they built it around single buggy.
Yeah.
I was going to say, not many classes cleanly get through there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything faster than a single buggy is too fast, and they OJ them, and everything slower cases the shit out of them. So
Yeah.
it's made for single buggy.
That rhythm section has claimed like one of your better fabrications.
That was
That
literally.
radiator's still in orbit.
Oh, I thought we were talking about.
I don't think it
never
ever
came down. No,
I think Elon reported just last week
yeah.
that one of the
He's
fucking
got-
satellites.
He's got footy of it up there.
Yeah.
I thought we were. So the very debut of
Sinkowski.
of the Silver Bullet, we missed Spring Crandon because we were partying and hanging out too much, and then so we brought it to ERX, and I think it was the first day of racing, it was first day of racing, and Ben was fully committed to the inside line through the whoops, and Eric Sinkowski unfortunately had broken or whatever and like slowly coasted off, but he was still partially hanging out in that inside line, and. When the car's floating through the air and dancing through the whoops, there ain't no turning in the direction of it or stopping it. And Ben blasted that dude. There's still green paint embedded in the front bumper from the first weekend that car hit the track.
It KO'd that car.
Yeah.
And of course, Ben's behind the wheel.
There's a little bit of a list of cars that the Silver Bullet has claimed. We talked about doing like little buggy diagrams on the side like fighter jets do. Like,
That would be
all
pretty
unfortunate incidents, and we don't intend on racing anybody that way, but that thing has claimed lives.
We need to 3D print a little die that you can stamp into the aluminum.
Yeah, there you go.
awesome. So, who's been the driver that has wrecked it the most times?
Yeah, it's me. Definitely me. See, most people would say Ben, but it's actually me. Yeah.
I've been good, dude. I've been clean.
Who has the most success in it on record?
It's probably
That's
I would say
probably
it's,
fairly split, I
I would say it's me, but just marginally. It's been
Oh, you have the podium at Crandon.
Crandon podium.
Crandon.
And you podiumed at Dirt City.
Yeah, hot off a couple
Back to back.
at Dirt City, but yeah,
Yeah.
the lower car count. There's been like when Ben had his, that was a really freaking strong class and with like a really deep list of drivers at the time.
Yeah, but the Mayhem list, like you're
Yeah.
stacked against
But
the
you-
guys that are
Luke
top
did have that
four.
one at ERX that he threw away.
I did throw that one away. Yeah, and then that was adds to the list
The
of being
biggest
hard on
the
stuff.
biggest squid moment
That's when
probably of his career.
That's when he rolled it in
Yeah.
Zico,
Yes,
right?
Yeah,
in
just
the
a-
lead with one to
A
go.
minor miscalculation by a few feet on a blind jump, but yes, that is exactly what happened.
It's not a minor because you spotted for me, and
Yeah.
we did a track walk, and you're like, man, just come through here, run it tight, and aim for that. I know you can't see the entrance of the corner. Aim for that. I did the same thing, except I didn't have it upside down.
Oh.
And you're like, oh, well, yeah, I guess that's how
So
I
you were
explain
pointing
it.
out the hot lines and still fucked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
The,
you know,
the
sometimes
line
that happens.
changed.
Dylan
Right?
Parsons
The line
was
changed.
hot on your heels. I get it. The pressure was overwhelming. I got to understand.
Yeah, now every time we go to ERX, I like pick a flag because they always got those big Ziegler cat flags on top of that hill.
Yeah.
You pick like it's whatever the third flag and shoot for that one, and then see where you come up.
But how do
on
you
track
remember?
walk? I say I remember that one because I hit the tire and rolled it over.
Do you remember almost flipping the four-wheeler over?
yeah. Also track walk.
You're right.
That was the year when we had the Explorer, and I wasn't track walking in a Ford Escape.
You're the reason that they put that rule out there.
the no driving your car thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you look at one of them Polaris Pro Rs, and it's bigger than a Ford Escape. I
That's a
figured
good
it was-
point. That's a good point.
That seemed
Yeah,
legal.
you're just eyeballing it up, but you don't drive a Pro R.
It's the same thing.
So, speaking of wrecks and things like that, and going back to the tracks, what do you think is the toughest track to drive?
ERX.
See, I like ERX, and I think it's
Lena.
Yeah, I think Lena's really kind of the hardest. That or Crandon, because it's so high speed.
No.
Any mistake is like greatly multiplied and takes a long time to make it up.
That makes sense. And like, especially in buggies, you have to carry so much momentum. And if you lose your momentum, it's hard to get it back.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So where does I know you didn't go to Wheatland, but Luke did. So where does Wheatland fall?
Do you feel attacked?
I do. Yeah.
Kind of outnumbered here.
We had room.
I wanted to go.
We had room. We could have used another driver.
I blew the travel budget on a dirt bike race in Alabama at Talladega, so we just couldn't do it. Too far away.
So where does that fall on the list for?
Yeah, I
you
didn't
haven't
drive
drove
it,
it,
but I kind of wish I would. It looked like it was really good. Again, for single buggies, like everything kind of works out good because the car's so proportional. But it got blue grooved, whatever. But as far as like the spectator experience, it's really good. You're covered grandstands the whole time, and the showers were really nice. And yeah, I mean the facility was super nice. The people were getting a little short, but I think everybody was stressed out because they didn't expect 2,000 people to show up.
Yeah, I mean I thought they're still positive with us. I mean,
Yeah.
they're way more friendlier than a Crandon security guard.
What? Leave Crandon alone.
I'm
That one
attacking
lady
everybody.
by the RC track, she's nice.
She's very nice.
Very cool.
I ran into her at other events
Yeah,
too.
she's all right.
She works Midwest Horse Fair down in
she
Madison too.
If she would have had her way, she would have hauled me off.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have
At that
a wristband on.
Yeah, I'm sure you had it coming.
Yeah.
At that entrance, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that blonde lady always works there.
yeah. Oh, man. So as far as going up to the grandstands to watch races, what's the one class you have to go up to watch?
Pro
Every
4.
race.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
always
it's-
catch the pro classes. We
Pro
don't take our
4
race
is
program.
everybody's favorite, right? I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
I mean, as long as they keep it together and more than like 3 trucks
They,
finish.
they're not going to. That's why you got to go see it.
Still very entertaining to watch.
No, they're not going to keep it together, dude.
Because you can't. It's impossible.
I feel like nowadays it's just, if you finish, you have a chance to be on the podium.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you finish all the races all year, you're guaranteed a
And
podium.
especially if you finish like still 4-wheel drive, all 4 tires have air in them, and it runs on 8 cylinders. You got
Guaranteed.
that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's in the
It-
bag.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to
Wheatland-
run on all
I was
8.
just going to say, in Wheatland,
With the wolf thing.
the Wolf was not all 8 and he took second.
Yeah, that thing was slowly turning into an Ecotech.
Okay, so who is a legend in the sport that has had a high impact but doesn't always get recognized?
Dave Hawkers.
Fair?
Pretty obviously a little biased. He's my father-in-law, but he was a privateer hero back in the day. Like when it was Scott Taylor, Robbie Gordon. All these big name dudes.
Heavy
He was the first privateer in Pro 2 or Class 8 back then. But
And super consistent. Like,
Yeah,
has
yeah.
multiple championships just because he was always like solid 3rd or 4th or whatever.
Yeah. Obviously, like I said, super biased, but that's Dave Hawkers, legend of the sport, and my hero growing up, and also my father-in-law. So pretty crazy, But
You couldn't marry him, so you married his daughter.
yeah. Next best thing, I guess.
She's
over here watching.
too, so that's- Luke, do you have a different opinion or
don't know.
somebody you want to add?
That's like, again, because like I didn't really pay much attention like pre 2013, so my like view of the sport is a little different, But like, I don't know, like that. Mark Steinhardt, I think that's a good one.
Ooh,
They
yeah.
talk about him and stuff,
Yeah.
and like that he has a big impact. But I mean, that dude's been like he was that's the start of a lot of people's careers and involved in a lot of stuff. Actually, like him and Rob Kinner, who is our engine builder, like early on were crewing for Glenn Matthews together or whatever. But like that's a guy who is like deeply rooted in the sport and supports a lot of different teams.
Super nice guy too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Also, okay. Can we revisit your guys' top 5 list?
Yeah.
Hold off.
I don't know if you guys were down here sniffing glue before we made that episode or what was going on, dude.
All right. We'll skip up to that part. Your top 5. Let's hear it right now.
Okay,
Look right here.
Okay, hold on. I don't have 5 right
Oh,
now.
no.
I just want to complain about your
I got some
top
glue.
five.
I got some glue for you.
We'll recreate what we did.
Not having Scott Taylor. Neither of you having Scott Taylor at number 1 in Pro 2 is absurd.
That is even just in the
Come on.
We had him in the top 5 somewhere, right? Someone did.
I don't know if that is true.
Yeah, we gotta break back. It's in that notebook right there.
I believe you guys had him at like number 2 or something, but still, there's no number 2. It's Scott Taylor. It's not close, dude.
Yeah, we'll have to pull that back up. I don't have it memorized, but I know he's in there.
Someone mentioned him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Rob Mack was number 1.
For Pro 2.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Well, look. All right. Now you can think about it the whole rest of the time. You
Good
want
luck,
a little
dude.
note?
It's hard.
For Pro 2. Pro 2 is hard. Pro 4 is not that hard.
All right. Let's hear your Pro 4. Look right in the camera. We'll make this a hot clip.
No pressure.
Johnny G, number 1.
Well, you start with 5 and you roll up. It's
Okay.
Fair enough.
you build into some.
What is this your show now?
Well, it's,
Okay, all right. I didn't have 5. I thought 4. Mount Rushmore, only 4. Okay, I wasn't that prepared. All right. Johnny G, Kyle LeDuc, CJ, Jack Flannery. Number 5 is hard. I wasn't ready for 5. I wasn't.
Fair enough. I think that's solid.
Luke, do you have your top 5 for?
For Pro 4?
Just Mount Rushmore. Go for it. Cut them out to 5.
If 4's a little easier, right? I don't know. Again, because of the time period that I had watched in, I would say that probably number 1 would be Kyle LeDuc. Number 2 would be Johnny G. He's disappointed over here.
Ridiculous.
3 would probably be CJ. I mean, that's pretty unarguable.
He's going to
that-
be number 1 by the time he
Yeah,
cleans
exactly. That's on an unavoidable crash course there.
He's over here reviewing the tapes. Oh, Keegan Kincaid for Pro 2.
Pro 2s, yeah, for sure. Pro 4, like Doug Fortin, I feel like you kind of got to put on there just because all the parts and stuff, too. And,
Oh, that's true.
you know, I don't know. And Ross Hook, I mean, that's a guy that's, again, back to the privateer
Whole
stuff.
shot Hook.
That guy, dude, on a set
Underrated
of DOT
privateer.
Kendas,
Yeah.
dig on the
Carburetor.
line, unbelievable.
Guaranteed whole shot, too.
Yeah, and especially like right towards the very end when he started getting the backing from the Greaser and a lot of help and whatever, that thing was flying.
Carburetors, baby.
Yeah,
He won me a lot of money back in the day for the whole shot.
yeah.
But so Scott Taylor was my number 2 in Pro 2.
Ridiculous. Who'd you have for number 1?
Rob Mack.
Stop it. Stop.
Alec doesn't have a top 5 now.
I don't. My list, I think, is in that notebook. I think we'll just
Okay, fair
go.
enough.
We'll go with yours, and I'll do
okay.
magic editing and put mine down right
The
here.
only reason I want to bring this up is the Scott Taylor slander will not stand. This is he's the undisputed number 1 in Pro 2. Not close.
Makes sense. So speaking of
Anyway.
legends and everything, 10 years from now, where do you guys want to be in off-road racing? And do you want any kids looking up to you and saying you're the legend?
Oh yeah, that's
No.
Remember that guy with that really silly wing?
I don't know. That's kind of one thing. Like, I try to drive really clean and whatever because there's certain guys that like when they come up in conversation, everybody's like, oh yeah, he always ran everybody clean. He was a really good driver, whatever, all that kind of stuff. I think that'd be cool to be that guy, even if you're not like, you know, like a Scott Taylor or somebody that
Nobody's going to be Scott Taylor.
somebody that you bring up in a conversation because they're like known for being number 1, but when their name does come up, you're like, oh, he was always pretty good right there, respectable guy, whatever. Yeah. So I don't know about legend, but you know, good guy maybe.
Privateer legend.
He was doing what he could, you know.
Yeah, he was pretty okay.
But I do think like you look at the guys like oh god, oh shit, I can't remember the dude that
Dave
raced-
Hawkers.
the dude that drives the super buggy every fall, Schwartzberg.
Oh, yeah,
To be a guy like that,
A legend. Another legend of the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just passed recently, right?
No, that was
That was
Barnum.
Barnum.
Yeah.
Okay. So, who is the highest skilled competitor that you've raced against, in your opinion?
John Fitzgerald.
Yeah, fucking
that
Fitz.
freaking guy.
And he is the biggest asshole.
Top 5 assholes. Fitz.
The worst.
All of them.
Dude.
Yeah, I would definitely say that's probably the case, though.
Yeah, that dude can wheel. The class is full of really good drivers. I mean,
Single Buggy has produced a lot of good drivers and currently has a lot of really good drivers in it, too, yeah.
Hey, he's moved
maybe,
up to
Connor Schultz, man.
Connor Schultz, yeah. That
Flip
guy's,
a coin between him and Fitz, I guess.
he's actually a robot, so
Connor's
it's actually kind of hard.
incredible.
But
Yeah.
it's like every single lap, same spot, same amount of brake pressure. Like it's
you
Max
watch
Verstappen type
Connor's
stuff,
good, dude.
Yeah.
So, what's your prediction for his performance this year?
Points
gonna
championship
win.
for sure. Yeah, and probably a
he's
ring
gonna
too.
Win
yeah.
by a lot of times.
It's crazy how smooth he is and consistent, like you were saying, and just constantly. He could be mid pack, and all of a sudden, before you know it, he's up in the top.
Yeah, literally, it
man,
was-
he's good.
Light Buggy in Lena this weekend, and it was like turn 1. He was like, I don't know, maybe mid pack to maybe back 3/4 or whatever. And turn 1, he passed almost every car, and he was already in like 3rd or 4th. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Just the track is different in his eyes. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's
So-
good, man.
So, the Mayhem race at Lena that just happened.
Yeah.
You raced against both the Schultz.
Yes.
Yeah. So, why don't you give us a recap of that weekend, including your race and anything else that you were involved in, and just kind of highlighting that event, and then Ben as well, because you were a spotter for multiple people that weekend.
Just him, and I spotted for Ben Berger on Sunday.
And that was pro stock.
Pro sportsman side by side.
Oh, sportsman.
And
okay.
then I spotted for my boss Luke Stubbs for 2 laps.
2 laps of practice.
practice.
Yeah. And then the wheel decided to leave the chat.
Yeah.
Well, I think I wasn't there that day, but I think I heard it from you that
It was incredible.
went off a jump and learned.
He landed perpendicular to the racetrack.
Yeah, and didn't go for a ride, which was incredible.
Yeah, it was actually pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
Someone flipped the switch on physics, and Luke Stubbs was okay.
Saved his life, yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. So this weekend at Lena at Mayhem, I think you got on the podium both days. You want to kind of get into that?
Yeah, we're still pretty excited about how that all went down. We got lucky the first day of just getting a good. Well, I guess we could start with practice, right? So we went out during practice, and I didn't know how like any of the timing scoring worked. You know, it wasn't on Speed Hive, and last year we made these silly little Hawaiian shirts before the Crandon Parade, and they said good times over lap times, and I'm trying to live by that a little bit more. So versus like checking the lap times all the time and stressing out over this stuff, we're just gonna let her ride, you know. And
We've kind of been trying to figure out how much effort to put into this. Because if you take it too serious, it can take the fun out of racing really fast. Because we did that kind of the first couple years. Like, spend way too much money, take it way too serious, kind of live and die by the results. And then when the results aren't there, you're just dying. You know, it's like that sucks, man.
Yeah.
So,
this
last year especially, we really kind of dialed back the seriousness and kind of went back to the roots, and we're just partying a lot more and having a lot more fun. And honestly, the results didn't suffer at all. They were about the same, so it was a lot more fun. So
Some may argue they were better.
they were slightly better, maybe. Yeah.
So the good times over lap times thing, and so we went out for practice. I didn't even know where to check the results, and I was like, wow, I'm not even gonna worry about it. We're just gonna let her be, you know. I pulled back into the pit, and Todd Lemke looks at me and goes, "Were you late for church? Because you were hauling ass out there." And I said, "Wow, practice went pretty good, you know."
Hell yeah, brother.
we called her good at that. And then we ended up getting just lucky on the pill draw. We started 3rd. Evan Hawkers, who was double duty and in a light buggy for the weekend trying to shake out a new car, was 2. Said he would go to the back of the pack, so I got 2. So finally we got a decent break and a good starting spot. And then yeah, we just kind of went at it. So Colin took off like it to be expected, and we filed in behind him. Taylor was coming up on us and started shaking us down a little bit. Eventually worked a pass on me with, I don't know, probably maybe 3 or 4 laps to go. No, it was before the restart. And then after the restart, Taylor tucked in behind Colin, and he's really good at following. That's for sure. Like he
gapped you for a little bit.
Yeah, he
there.
was hooked onto Colin's bumper, and they were figuring some stuff out. And then something must have happened where Taylor ended up just off the bumper a little, and then Connor started running away again. And I was just kind of in no man's land trying to figure my stuff out. And then towards the end of the race, we were really picking up a lot of speed, and Ben was helping over the headset. And so we tightened that up. I wouldn't say it was like a side-by-side finish or anything, but down in the hellhole, Taylor was definitely protecting his line, and we were right there. So that was good. And then the second day we came out, and we got a little harsher starting spot, but we got blessed by just a lot of other stuff that happened on track. There was just weird pileups and stuff that happened, people spinning out, whatever, and some contact between drivers, but we just stayed in it and and stayed the course. And yeah, we're able to come out with another third. And we were running fast. I don't remember what it was, if it was Saturday or Sunday, but there was like a 10-second gap between 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, I mean, it felt good to be with the fast guys and checking out.
It's obviously there were a lot of heavy hitters missing. Half the class is gone. But at the same time, you know, Taylor Roloff, Connor Schultz, Colin Schultz, those guys are both, they're all three of them podium guys every time, you know, and even Sean Springstro, he was
away with Lena last year.
Yeah, exactly. He's a regular podium guy. These are all really good dudes in the class. We can only race who's there, and he ran with those guys no problem. So
it was promising.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You know, like obviously not everybody's there, but I feel like it was still a solid weekend, and it kind of proved that we can run with those guys, you know?
Yeah, it was a big confidence booster because we kind of had that issue. You know, like we're like, nah, did we build a car that sucks? Maybe.
Or do we just suck?
Do we suck? Probably. You know, like it's kind of it's hard. You know, it's really hard. Especially
race cars are hard, dude.
Our car's kind of different, so it's hard to compare it apples to apples with a lot of the other stuff. You know, like from the Fraley chassis, it's really different. And yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, especially on Sunday. I know me and Alec were able to make it out there, and you definitely were hanging with the fast guys, so that was cool to see. And I definitely like the uniqueness of the buggy out there.
The wing?
Yes.
Wing. Hell yeah. That's all it's needed all this time.
Yeah, if we would have known, we would have put that on years ago.
So I think we're going to skip to a section where we talk about your buggy then.
Okay.
And your
the unique thing in which we've created.
Your motivation behind the design and kind of how you guys come upon that, and just in general about your buggy, how you built it. I was there a little bit, but
so buggies have a unique and notorious problem where they don't steer good because the engine and the transmission are both in the back, and there's just not enough weight in the front.
Yeah, too much rear weight, and it's hard to get it. It's hard to get that front weight because you have to sit at least 50% of the car. The engine and trans are behind you, kind of hanging out there. So it's really hard to get far enough forward to get the weight on the front. But luckily, we're both super short, so we can get pretty far forward. And then when we built the car, we used a set of hanging pedals, so the reservoirs come off the front side, or towards the driver, you know? So the pedals can get farther forward than your standard floor-mounted pedals that people would use in a buggy. So we're really, really far forward. And the wheelbase is about the same as a normal buggy, but it looks silly because
sort of like an El Camino.
Yeah, everyone says, is this thing like super long or what's going on here? Because it looks weird.
And we attest that to because the hood ended up being only like this long, we made a little bit of a facade hood that is a little longer than it actually should be. So then the car looks proportionally kind of correct in the front, but then there's still all this extra room in the back, so it looks long. Yeah. We made a new engine cage.
I'm pretty sure the wing helped, though. It looks more proportionate with the wing.
Yeah, we added height. You know, it's like a fat guy wearing vertical stripes instead of horizontal.
A little coat. A little coat.
So, where did the inspiration from the wing come?
It's buggies, man. It's like
Yeah, 19 Mickey Thompson Stadium Series, 1980 or whatever.
yeah, in the 70s.
RC cars,
Yep.
buggies, wing.
got the wing.
Always a wing.
Every time with the wing, and then you go back and watch historical footage, and it's like mid 1990, death of the wing, are all gone.
Yep.
Probably because they didn't help at all, but we're bringing them back.
The real question is,
And then the people
are
that
you
are
gonna
like,
make a bigger wing?
A bigger one.
are you insane? Bigger than the one we have?
It's just too much.
Just a huge satellite on there?
Just a huge wing hanging off the back of it.
I'm waiting for a rain race, and then you can see all that airflow.
You probably
Oh,
can.
like a 1970s F1.
Yeah. Every now and then, if it's just right conditions, you'll see that like the dirt rolling off the pro trucks. Like it'll hit the front of the hood. and-
Could you imagine if a single buggy
Yeah, the dirt rolling off the wing.
followed a Pro 2 and we got the dirt?
Yeah, right. Yeah, because we won't have the dirt.
I feel like that's a good promo video.
Single buggy behind the trophy truck at Dirt Fest. We might have the dirt.
We could make this happen.
We'll get an order.
Yeah,
for
we
dirt.
could get enough roost on this single buggy that.
So, all right, let's move into, we go back to our green flag section. What is the earliest memory that you have at the track? So obviously you guys both you literally grew up there, and you grew up there.
Are you really pondering this one? Do you need a minute?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is tough for me.
I remember I was maybe like 7, somewhere around 7, and we were sitting, there's the little snow cone shack up by like the handicap stand and stuff. That's where our family and everybody we camped with would always go, and we're sitting in the shade like eating a snow cone or something behind the snow cone shack at Crandon. Yeah. That's probably it. It's not
even a story,
it's not
bro.
super relevant, but it is my earliest memory probably. Like I said, I didn't pay much attention to this stuff when I was young, so it's tough.
That was horrible.
Yeah, it's not so good.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
I have a few, but like one of my earliest ones is obviously Dave and Tom Hawkers. Like we would, because that was, my dad used to ride with Dave, and then they were still really good friends, and we would go see them in the pits, after the races. And I remember one time, I can't remember the track we were at, maybe Luxembourg or something, but it was kind of a wet race. And me and my brother-in-law, Steve Hawker, Stupid Steve. We were small children, and we scraped all the mud off of Dave's truck and piled it up on the ground and made a bicycle jump. And that was pretty cool. I was very, very small at that time. And then maybe... Matt Gerald, like I said, family friend of ours. He was a few years older than me, going to see him in the pits. Just like the people you knew, like the people that we were close to that we would go see in the pits when I was a kid. Like I looked up to these people, That's what got me into buggies. Like my dad, when I was a kid, it was like light buggy would come out. He'd be like, all right, fuck this. Let's go for a walk in the pits.
Yeah, time to go buy t-shirts,
Buggies, yeah, we're not watching this shit. But then we would go buy the Gerald's pit when they were done, and it was like, I was like, man, this is cool. This is it right here. Like this is my future, And didn't tell him that at the time because he probably would have disowned me. But
now that you say, like, I remember going to Oshkosh, so that would be maybe Oshkosh was 2010 the last time that was ran. I remember going there and watching Matt race, so that maybe be close to my earliest memory too. I don't know.
Your earliest memory is 2010?
Dude, I would have been 10.
I graduated high school that year, dude. Holy shit.
I graduated 08, so
You're old as fuck. So. Back to the top 5 lists.
I got mine. I am loaded now.
It took him forever to find it.
He huffed some more glue. He's back.
Sniffing glue. Dude. This is nonsense. This is all nonsense. How does Jeremy McGrath get number 3? I get it. The king of Supercross. Absolutely love the guy. But number 3 of all time Pro 2, come on.
He didn't even make my top 5.
It could be influence on the sport, though. He brought some eyes to it. He also allowed...
He is the coolest dude that ever lived.
He almost
If
hit
you could trade lives with anyone ever, Jeremy McGrath is the answer.
He provided the space for the Johnny Greaves world record Pro 4 jump.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was at the Jeremy McGrath Ranch. He almost hit us with the minivan that time. That's cool.
He's the epitome of cool, dude. The frosted tips, the helmet with the curtain, little tassels on the bottom.
The Indian truck driver curtain thing.
Yeah, dude, he's Jeremy McGrath is as cool as it ever gets. But number 3 Pro 2 of all time, it's absurd, dude. Come on, man. He's the coolest guy that ever lived, but come on, dude.
See, but it's the greatest. So like the definition by greatest.
The greatest supercross rider ever.
Okay. All right. So what's you do your Pro 2 now? Don't steal my list.
Well, why would I steal your list? It's nonsense.
I agree with that.
Let me see your list. I got a copy. I got to cheat off of somebody.
He's just over here copying homework. This is how he does it.
Okay. Okay, this is nonsense.
Well, let's hear non-nonsense.
Okay, I would go Scott Taylor number 1 for sure.
CJ Greaves in Pro 2 is a bold move.
Yeah. CJ Greaves is Pro 4. I mean, he's had great times in Pro 2, but I don't know that I would go top 5. I would say Keegan Kincaid is higher than number 5. I mean, 2016 Keegan Kincaid was
The blue truck?
unstoppable. Yeah.
If it wasn't on fire, it was all on ass.
He won both cup races, and the Pro 4s were going the same speed. That was the last year of Unlimited Pro 2, and he was insane that year.
Well, after Wheatland, I might bump him up a little bit.
I would put him,
Yeah.
Keegan Kincaid.
He's back.
I'm not gonna put a top 5 together list. I need to think about this a little longer, but Keegan's higher than 5 for sure.
It sounds like you're putting a list together.
Yeah, he's slowly constructing
I'm
one.
trying
Just
to.
not.
The gears are spinning, but it's slow.
We're in a cold snap, man. Oil's thick. You turn slow.
All right, let's get back to the biggest hurdle in the development of your guys' buggy.
That's a really tough one, man. I don't know. I would say just all the time before the wing. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what I would say for sure.
No, man, I don't know. I would shocks maybe. I mean, they've always been close, but they're so close it's hard to tweak. And we took that on board maybe 3 years ago, and it's been slow.
Luke kind of took on the shock tuning himself. He took it upon himself to figure out how shocks are made and how this all works, because I was like not gonna do it. So
I was there that day.
I wasn't. So
He's like, "Hey, you take your shocks apart, don't you? Right?" And I was like, "Yeah, you should come over." And then we took them apart, and they were nothing like mine. And I was like, "See you later."
yeah,
I don't know what these are about. Yeah.
it just takes so much work to get a race car, an off-road car tuned in shock wise. You have to make constant changes. It's a ton of work, and it's hard to do it. I mean, if you look at any good pro team, they do their shocks themselves, and you have to know what you're looking for as a driver, to know what you want the car to do. It's really hard if you're not doing it yourself,
Yeah.
And
The hardest thing for us, so we run external bypass, and so like the shocks are really close to where we want them, but it's tough because our adjustment in the bypass, say whatever, it's 15 turns, we're towards the end of that. So I always want to be like, say we have 15's a bad number. Say we have 12, right? So I want to be like 6 turns is our base, and then we have 6 turns of more and 6 turns of less. And so I'm always kind of chasing that, but it's tough because it's such a minute amount that you're constantly trying to valve into it. But yeah, I think shocks probably.
It's probably unique too, just because of the layout of your buggy and the setup. You don't have a lot of reference points of other buggies, what they're running, because yours is somewhat unique.
Yep, yeah, that's for sure. And even like the rear geometry in our cars is all a little bit different too. And so like we built our own rear arms and stuff with geometry that we thought was more favorable. At one point we did try running shocks that were the same as somebody else's, and it just didn't quite work out because their suspension didn't bind quite as much as ours, and their weight distribution was different and whatever, and it was like just wildly off. And that's you live and learn.
So how about those high-tech shock protectors?
Yeah, so some 3D printed garbage that I put on a race car. I'm sure if you ask Ben, he's very anti 3D
Looks
printing.
like shit. It does look like shit, but
It does the job.
it makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
It's fine.
yeah, when we go
At
to
Lena, we can put them on at Lena, but after
Yeah.
that, they got to get out of there because they look like shit.
Yeah. The shock bodies get pounded by other rocks and they get dinged, and then the piston hangs up in the bore and whatever. So
It's
yeah, there's
literally
some,
expensive.
it's expensive. Yes.
So you slap a 3D printed product on it.
Yeah, on the front, and just to so they're not getting smoked in the face by rocks, and that helps it out.
But
There
it doesn't
is-
look good enough with the wing.
No, they're not super attractive. That's for sure. They're like big black and rubber. And
They're
whatever
fine.
the
They
heck,
look
but
okay. They're fine.
Yeah, they're not.
Okay, so you alluded to BMX riding. Okay, so from BMX.
This is my favorite subject next to dirt bikes.
Well, I was about to say
Okay.
BMX to dirt bikes to
Yeah.
buggies.
Yes.
What is a perk of each discipline, and ultimately, what's your favorite?
Dirt bikes is my favorite.
Yeah, I could have answered that one for
Not
you.
even close. Hands down, not even close. BMX it's awesome. That's where I got my start. You know, when I was 9 years old, started racing BMX. And then the skate park in Appleton, it was called Area 51 Skate Park. They had a race team. And their team was actually Taylor Roloff was on the team too.
Oh, nice.
They had the baddest dude in every class, basically. Like Area 51 was the team. Like it was the shit.
Did
And
they
I-
really have a race team?
Yeah.
Yeah. They
I
had
did not know that. I went there a ton when I was a kid to skateboard.
Yeah, they had a BMX race team, and if you were on Area 51, it meant you were a bad dude because they had the fastest guy in every class. And I was whatever, I don't remember what age I was, but I was whatever intermediate class, I was winning every weekend. And Area 51 put me on their team, and when you were on the team, you got to ride the skate park for free, and that ruined my racing career. Because once I got exposed to the skate park, hitting jumps at the skate park was all I wanted to do. So we would go to the track, and I'd be jumping all the jumps, and my parents are like, "Dude, you're not even trying." And I was like, "Yeah, I just want to go to the skate park like that." And that was pretty much the end of my racing career. And then I rode BMX for a long time, and then it wasn't until I moved out of my parents' house I bought a dirt bike because I've always wanted, like, the whole point of riding BMX was because I couldn't afford a dirt bike. You know, I was like, I'm doing heel clickers and knack-knacks on my BMX bike because I don't have a dirt bike, you know? So I finally got a dirt bike, and the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 years I've been riding dirt bikes like it's my fucking job because that's my go-to, man. It's the best. That's my favorite thing to do.
Is there anything from either one of those, like BMX, dirt bike, that you can take to off-road racing? Like
No.
nothing
Nope.
transfers?
No, not really. Okay, all right. Maybe a little bit of racecraft, like setting somebody up in a corner, like not following them nose to tail. You know, like a lot of times as a rookie off-road driver, you find yourself wanting to just kind of follow somebody, setting people up, maybe setting up a pass. That for sure transfers over, especially for motocross. But
That and it keeps you in shape. That's helpful.
that helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys talking about arm pump? I'm like, what are you talking about? Bro? What are you talking about? It's nonsense.
Just good shape. That's a transferable skill.
But
So-
there's what I struggle with the most, I think, from moto to buggies is like on a dirt bike, there's always a time where you can we'll just over jump this jump, or there's a rough section and we'll just go a little harder than everybody else. Like you can kind of outballs people in some spots where in a buggy, everybody's going as fast as they can. You're not going to jump past somebody in a single buggy. You know, it's not a thing. And it's more like precision and hitting your marks every lap and being perfect, which is Connor Schultz's deal, and it's not my deal. So, yeah, that's been a struggle to adapt, you know, between the two.
So when you were talking in the past about your first memory and scooping a big chunk of mud pile off the vehicle, right after that was your first backflip off of that mud pile.
First backflip was probably 13 years old ish, 13 to 15, somewhere in there. I guess I don't have a great record of it. Yeah. Too many head injuries. I don't know what to tell you, man.
The elephant in the room.
A lot of failed backflips.
Yeah, dude. It's part of the deal, I guess.
So, what year did you go viral doing?
That was 2019. Yeah, so
doing a
that
backflip.
that was why we were not at Spring Crandon because we were too busy
in the
monkeying
process
around.
of building the Silver Bullet. It was the first warm day of the year. We were supposed to be working on the buggy, but it was super nice out. This was probably early May or something, and it's 60 degrees, and we're like, dude, fuck this. We can't work on the cars.
Like we'd work in the car for a little bit, and then Ben would get like on a bicycle and just like take a hot lap up the street and back, and then we'd work for a little bit, and then he'd be on a pit bike ripping around. Like he just could not be.
Couldn't do it. I can't go in the garage when it's this nice out. We ended up riding BMX bikes around, and then we built like a piece of firewood with a 2x4 propped up on it, like a jump, and I jumped over the pit bike, and then my buddy Matt DeGroat came over.
And he nabbed some wood on the way over.
He did. He brought us some plywood. He's like, let's build a jump. And I was like, hell yeah. And then, I don't know if you've ever seen the Lego movie. when that guy starts snapping together the spaceship, he's like, spaceship. And it's like, boom, boom, boom. Instantly spaceship.
Yep.
That was how we were with the jump. It's like, let's build a jump. It's like, bam, bam, bam. 20 minutes later, boom, sweet jump. And then we're jumping in the street, like, doing one-handers and knack-knacks and shit. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to backflip this thing. And I'm like, I'm going to go. I tied my shoes and everything, tied my shoes, put a helmet on it. And I was like, I'm going to backflip this thing. And my brother was like, hey, wait. Let's do it into the front yard. On the street.
Grass.
Too gnarly on the street.
Yeah,
Let's do it into the front yard. So I was like, all right. Voice of reason. He knows what he's talking about. We'll do it in the front yard. And I landed on my face so fucking hard, man. He had no idea he doesn't know how to do a backflip. It's terrible advice.
We had made the mistake of the run up was
The
uphill.
speed. Yeah.
The run up
the
should have been
speed,
downhill.
I would have stuck it on the road for sure. Dude.
Yes. Yeah, literally like the perfect 3/4 backflip, straight nose, dirt,
Right,
gets
yeah.
up, mud,
Dude,
grass. It's
handlebar straight to my shin. I had 2 knees that night, dude. It was gnarly. It was so disgusting, dude. And the funniest part is we were posting this like on Snapchat. So he shows up to work on the buggy. Serious focused work day. Then we start fucking around, posting videos on Snapchat, and people just keep showing up all day long. More and more people, more and more nonsense, more of these videos. And then at the end of the night, there were like 30 people in my garage.
Yeah, now it is a full blown shop party.
Straight
and
up
Ben
party.
has 2 knees.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the night that there's a story maybe about Jenny and a pit bike.
Whiskey throttle. Okay. She's sitting here. She doesn't want to tell it, but we're going to tell it anyway.
She don't have to tell it. You can tell it. Do you want to come over and tell it?
Yeah, come on. Come on.
I'm not doing it.
So it's big garage party now, like 30 people in my garage. We got the little
2.5 stall garage.
Yeah, 2.5 stall garage. This
Double
thing's
deep.
full. Yeah, it's full. We got the pit bike fired up. Everybody's doing burnouts all over the garage on the pit bike. And Jenny is like, I'm going to do a burnout. And I was like, you have no idea how to do a burnout. But I'm going to let this happen. So I just stand back and watch it happen. She gets on it. Handful of gas. Doesn't grab the front brake. Doesn't lean forward. Nothing. No back of the calves on the foot pegs. Nothing. Just, right into the garage door. And it was hilarious.
There's a little black mark on the door still.
There is,
A
yeah.
good buddy of ours who helped us build the Silver Bullet, Jake, he lives there now. And it lives
Yeah,
in
he bought the house from
infancy,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
We were just there recently in the garage, and there are still burnout marks everywhere. Rubber splattered up the walls, dude.
Well, something tells me that he's contributing to
He's
an
not.
addition.
No,
No, he
he's
doesn't
not?
have a little dirt bike.
No, hang out and drink beers. That's it now.
Oh, okay.
Still sweet.
All right, let's bring it back down here. All right, look, you do RC racing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there?
Yeah, I try.
Yeah. Which we'll get into another good story here, but what is the biggest takeaway with RC racing compared, or that you utilize in regular real life?
I would say focus. Yeah, for sure. Like, it's really hard to stay engaged, like, in the race car for me sometimes, which sounds ridiculous, but, like, Crandon, the straightaway's so long that you, like, just start thinking about other stuff. Or, like, there's all these things happening on the edge of the track, and then that catches my attention, and I must be, like, really bad ADD or something. But, like, when you're driving the RC car thing, it's, like, all about hitting your marks, just like Ben was talking about, like, all the stuff that Connor does. And so that contributes to it. Even in Lena, like, the podium speech thing, stressful, dude. You know, so, like, even the things are going well.
You were horrible at it. Day two? That was ridiculous.
Day 2 was bad, but
Ridiculous.
when things are starting to look like they're going good, I'm like, oh, God, like, I'm going to be on the podium. What am I going to say? Like, whatever you start thinking about other stuff, you just got to focus in. And I've had that with RC racing, too, where you start getting worked up and whatever. Like, the most nervous I've ever been is always RC racing. Like, I started doing that when I was, like, 13 and then left and came back and left and came back. But I'll be up on the driver's stand doing that, and my knees are, like, trembling. And it's ridiculous because it's a toy car. There's nothing to lose, but it is super stressful. I don't know why.
Speaking of a toy car and nothing to lose, if you have a toy car, how fast can you evacuate a whole building?
Yeah, so we had a small lipo fire at one of the events, and yeah, it was probably about 30 seconds. The whole building was clear.
Define small.
Well, it didn't like light on fire. It just smoked a lot and was gross. Yeah.
So there's a reason why those bags are there.
Yeah. No, that's all very real, actually. Yeah.
Okay, Ben, no secret, you're pretty much on the A list for motorsports fabricator list.
Oh, geez, that's pretty.
I wouldn't go there.
I put him there.
I wouldn't do that.
All right, my top
B-list,
five.
B-list at least.
Yeah, he's second
Just-
string, you know, like.
Just remember whose top 5 list it is.
Yeah,
my top
yeah.
five, which
have
we
some
already
glue
know
and
how
then
good
made a
I am at
fabricator
top
list.
fives. But fabricating, I feel like, helps you understand vehicles and how they work, and maybe you have an insight when you're driving. Is there any truth to that, you believe, or?
No.
No, I would
Okay.
definitely disagree
No.
with that. Yeah. Maybe on the prep side, like I mean, I think about that kind of stuff.
I'm a better race car builder than I am driver, for sure, by a lot.
So which one do you enjoy more?
I don't like building them that much. Fabricating sucks, dude. I mean, it's cool. It's especially cool when you see something you built get on the podium.
Yeah.
Like, all the work we do for the Van Epperons is cool. Like, those guys are awesome. And to see them on the podium every weekend is badass, you know, like. But, man, it's not that cool, man. Fabricating sucks. It's, you just fucking breathing smoke, eating sparks all day. It's dumb.
But at the same time, fabricating a cheese machine versus fabricating a race car. That's kind of a gimme.
What I do now is a million times cooler than what I did before this. So
Yeah. There
is that.
few people know this, but there's a Kurt LeDuc movie from back in the day.
Yes.
And in that movie, and forget the quote exactly, but
Never
it's like
lift?
it's the worst day I ever had as a race car driver is way better than the best day I ever had in a normal job. And he's kind of got that going on a little bit.
Yeah, I got a fake job for sure. What I do for a living is cool as fuck. I get to work on the coolest shit ever. Like I said, fabricating gets old after a while. You put up with a lot of dumb shit. Today I had a fucking grinder.
Oh, jeez.
I was grinding a piece of tubing. Grinder kicked back on me into my shirt, wound up into my shirt so bad that the grinder was still growling at me, but it was like stopped. And I shut it off, and I could not get it unhooked from my shirt because my shirt was wound so deep into the grinder. And it was this close to ripping my guts out, man. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, dude.
It depends who's fabricating. You know, sometimes.
It might be.
I have to defend the grinder though here, because you take the
Okay, all
freaking
right,
guards
stop
off, and I know you do.
The grinder is useless with a guard on it, Alec. It's literally, you can't do anything with a guard.
What are your plans for 2025? Official plans?
Official plans? That is a bad question because we have none.
It's loose right now, man.
So you're running a full season. Got it.
Coming into this season, we reached out to no sponsors because we did no clue what we were going to do. So we didn't even get product from anybody or do anything. And then we ran Lena because it's cheap. Like you could run Lena for like $150. To run a champ race is probably like close to 10 times that. At least, especially if you're going to do single event. But yeah, so we're kind of just like hanging out and figuring out what we're doing as we go.
So
No
next,
answer.
what's the next race you're going to do then?
I'm doing a ton of side work because I'm getting married this fall.
So originally going into this year, Luke was gonna not race at all, and I was gonna race a full season. But then I was like, nah, it's too expensive. Not doing that. I'm gonna race some rounds. Maybe I'm gonna buy a new dirt bike and not race any rounds. It's been kind of been kicked around for a while. Now, not buying a new dirt bike for sure. So I'm gonna race ERX, Bark River, and Lena. For sure. That's stamped.
Does the past success this weekend at Lena weigh in the decision a little bit more to
No.
try?
No.
I mean, for me, yeah, I would I would like to, but at the same time, it's still just expensive. So that's that.
Luke's gonna Anago. Talking about Anago.
I'm talking about it.
We're talking about Anago here.
Yeah. We're talking about it.
I guess we're talking fall Crandon.
I don't
Spring
know.
Crandon.
Definitely not Spring Crandon. We're out on Spring Crandon.
Sucks.
Snoozer. But Fall Crandon, I doubt that too. We were just going to enjoy
Yeah,
that
split
one.
drive fall Crandon.
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see.
Up in the air.
Yeah, nothing's decided.
I'm gonna run my 3 favorite rounds.
Whatever we're going to sign up for, we're going to sign up for at least a week ahead of time so we don't have to pay the late fee. And that's pretty much the plan.
Yeah. I already feeling a little stressed out thinking about having to get campsites and stuff, but we'll figure it out. We'll be there. We'll be at the rounds.
All right. So out of all the years, which one do you believe was most challenging?
Either
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say either 2016, which was my first or the last year light buggy that I already talked about, or whatever year that was that we were having them radio issues with the single buggy, because that was a major point of contention between the two of us. That didn't go well at all. So
I would say, because I ran 2 years solo, and one of those did not go very good. I blew up a lot of dollars worth of engines, and that was disappointing. That was very... But otherwise, I would say probably the last year that we ran together before so that would have been 2020. That's when we did that steering shaft stuff, and we busted a ton of stuff up for a while. That was kind of tough.
yeah.
So you kind of hit on it before, but do you think like the recipe for success then is like you were saying, kind of just forgetting about the lap times and just enjoying it?
Yeah, you need to enjoy it.
This past season has been probably our best so far, and we really eased off on the pressure. Like we took everything a lot lighter, and we went to Midwest Dirt Fest, which honestly I think helped a ton. Like that was
Honestly.
that was the funnest weekend of the summer by far.
Yeah.
Like that was super cool. Take the buggy out to that, and Luke drove it all weekend, and that was super fun. This last summer we just took super light, and it was so fun. And I think we're gonna probably try and keep that model going because this has been a blast. You know?
I mean, it is far too expensive with so little in return to take it so seriously.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you turn it
100%.
into a job, and even at that, you're never gonna make a living
It's
doing
so
it. Like at a
easy.
sportsman level like us. I
It's
mean,
so easy to suck the fun out of it if you
Yeah.
just live and die by the results. And like I said, it's so expensive, and
you just gotta enjoy what you're doing. It's your hobby.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you gotta look at it as your hobby.
Yeah,
go
I
to
re-
Midwest Dirt Fest and hit some huge ass motocross jumps in a buggy, dude.
It's a booter.
As sick as it gets, man. And then race pit bikes at night.
Yeah.
Just party all the time. This shit is the best. That kind of changed the whole.
Yeah, that's for sure. It changed the trajectory. Of what we were
It
trying
did
to
change
do.
the trajectory of the season last year, and that was thanks to Joey Machozik for sure, because
Yeah, that's without doubt.
he was the one that sucked us into that. So
You guys were like famous that weekend because Blake Wilkie was just all about your buggy.
the buggies,
Every time
dude.
you hit a jump, buggy.
Today they post the link for the signups for Midwest Dirt Fest, and it said if you have a truck, buggy, or Ultra 4, and Buggy's got added because
Yeah,
of him.
man.
So
Yeah.
that's
Equal rights for buggies.
yeah,
man. This is
dude,
important.
all for the buggies, man.
It was kind of a while. It was actually the day that I got engaged. My phone was like blowing up. I'm like, what is going on here? So I because we didn't tell anybody. I looked at my phone and it was like tagged in a bunch of posts and whatever. And we actually got put in a magazine from Midwest Dirt Fest. So that was cool.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
That's awesome.
That was the funnest event I think I've ever been to. Like, that was Midwest Dirt Fest. Can't recommend it highly enough for
Yeah.
people to just go see. Just go there to watch, dude. It's the best. Like,
Do you know the dates for this year?
Yeah.
We
Not
could-
off the top of our head, but yeah.
So you don't know them.
They're out.
the dates are out.
I'm sure
It's the
in-
weekend. Oh, yeah. It's There's 2 weekends between ERX. There's one extra weekend between ERX and Lena. It's that weekend.
Yeah.
In July.
Yes.
Correct.
She's tight to fit in. That's like I've had my
That's-
eyes on that event for a long time, but it's always been hard to if you race a full season.
I think our plan for this year is I'm gonna race ERX, and if the shit ain't wrecked by then, maybe we'll look at Dirt Fest. And if the shit ain't wrecked after Dirt Fest, maybe we'll look at Lena.
Because
And
Dirt
that's-
Fest is hard on shit.
Dirt Fest is gnarly,
if
dude.
you have a little buggy,
150-foot motocross booter in a buggy is gnarly. That's a,
yeah, if you got a buggy with like 28-inch tires, it's hard on it.
These dudes are running around with 35-inch tires and 600 horse, and they are digging trenches, and the buggy is just literally trying to get along. Like, it's getting stuck everywhere.
I was on a run up to a jump, and I could not hear the engine over how much the skid plate was dragging. She
It
beat.
is also literally the Wild West. Like, I'm standing on the side of the jump, 10 feet away from the buggy, taking iPhone video. It's nobody there to tell you, hey man, don't stand on the track. Nobody cares. Nobody.
It's just common sense law.
The Wild West, dude.
It is cool.
Midwest Dirt Fest. There's got a DJ at night. There's a big crowd of people. You're hanging out, and this dude in a disco ball helmet sneaks up behind you with a mortar and just boom, you hear it in your feet. Bam! Like, it is crazy, dude.
It's nuts.
Absolutely crazy there.
We had
So
plenty
sick.
of fun. No, it was
Yeah,
cool.
Jeff Wolf was with us, dude. It was
It has good short course representation.
Yes, awesome, fun weekend, dude. I can't wait to go back.
If you don't break the car.
If we
If maybe the car survives the RX.
There's
If I
all
don't
the
post
incentive in
Squidward.
the world to keep it together in ERX.
So, most memorable camaraderie story. So, like somebody helped out somebody. Another. You can
maybe
go-
that time we flex sealed your tire back together. No, I can't think of
the wheel back together.
the wheel. Yes,
Yeah.
the leaky wheel.
Flex Seal. We're still looking for our sponsor.
To show the power of Flex Seal, we ripped our wheel in half.
And glued it back.
It's tough because you see it all the time.
Yeah, short
Like-
course is a unique sport that way.
Yeah, I mean, people blowing up engines and borrowing people engines, and you see it all the time. It's hard to pick like one specific time.
And you even see it like across sportsmen, even in the pro ranks.
Yeah, yeah,
they're
for sure.
Yeah.
getting
We
help.
had that situation at Anago one time. We just put a new motor and trans mount, and it was not a very good one, obviously, and it was flexing and moving all over the place. And we went up. It was actually I think I have a Snapchat video of it. We went up to Jimmy Henderson's pit and borrowed a couple pieces of chromoly and burned this thing back together and gusseted it up and whatever. And then it was like a year that they had fireworks or whatever. It was on Friday, and we were
Yes.
like in the middle of the night in
Yep.
a single buggy, no lights, putting back like, and there's fireworks and stuff going off in the background. I have this stupid like pitch black iPhone video
Yeah.
of it, but yeah, I guess that's kind of a good one for us.
Yeah, we were welding up the trans mounts in the middle of the night outside of Jimmy's pit with chromoly. And there was a time we broke a steering shaft, and Jimmy saved us again.
Yeah, no,
We've used Jimmy's welder so many times, dude.
yeah, we broke a nut off in a shaft.
Yeah.
broke a
Jimmy
bolt.
Henderson to the rescue at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Do you have a camaraderie thing in mind for us?
no.
Was that a weighted question?
Yeah.
That question's for you. I think the one that, if I had to pick one, and I don't remember the team that did it. So when Lemke at ERX like blew up his motor for the 15th time, Bonacci
Yo.
like just
yeah.
straight up gave him a bullet and said,
Yeah, and that was funny. That motor was deemed Elvis. That was the one that he was kicking butt with all year. And then Elvis sucked a little dirt, and they were getting concerned about it. So they pulled Elvis out and put the spare in. The spare wasn't as good as Elvis, and then Lemke had a bullet.
Yeah, that was crazy.
so
Also, maybe also the time the pit sluts did the world's best tire change.
Yes,
yeah.
that was a good one.
Yes.
Yes, so
We're
we're
these
running
dudes.
we're running a race, and I'm spotting Ben's driving. I don't even remember what happened that would have caused the flat.
We did.
Oh,
I think it just happened. It's
Yeah,
just a natural flat. I didn't do anything. It just sometimes tires get flat.
sometimes they lose their air, but I'm watching the car. I'm like, man, I think something's happening down there. And then I go over the radio. I said, Ben, does it feel like it has a flat? And he was like, yeah, I think it might be getting low. And we don't have enough radios at this time. So I call Steve Hawkers.
magically before this race. We never have anyone in the hot pits. Never plan on it. Don't send tires down there. No people, whatever. But Steve, for some reason, says, "Hey, we have tires for Connor and Taylor and whatever. So if you guys have a flat, let us know. We'll be there." And I was like, "All right, whatever.
Yeah.
We're not coming in. Fuck it. Doesn't matter."
Right, because if you get a flat after the half, you're kind of donezo.
Yeah, you
just
know,
gotta run it.
we don't plan on a tire change or whatever. But then, sure as shit, do I get a flat right rear tire? And
Yeah, so now we know she's going down. So I run over, and I don't remember who was spotting for Connor or Colin or whatever, but I said to him, hey, so we don't have a tire, but I know you do. Is it okay if we borrow your tire? Yeah, sure. We don't care, whatever. And like the half we're at the half. And so I run over and I call Steve Hawkers over the telephone. And I'm like, hey, Steve, so heads up, we're going to be coming in for a flat, whatever. Use Colin's tire and throw it on the car. And he goes, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. And then so I run over to race control. I said, hey, we have a flat, permission to pass. They said, yeah, whatever. So Ben goes flying past the pack, pulls into the pits.
they don't know what size lug nuts we
Yeah.
got. I don't know where they're at. I'm coming down pit lane, shifting gears. I'm like, I'm hauling ass, but at the same time, looking around, trying to figure out where my pit crew's at. See them slide to a stop. I'm sitting there. They all jump over the wall. They're changing the tire and stuff. And I'm like,
Ben said, they don't know what size lug nuts we got. So Peter jumps over the wall, 2 guns.
yeah.
Ready to rock.
Hey, 2 Guns Peter. That's his nickname. 2 Guns. He fucking checks one, spinning on the lug, boom, chucks that gun over the wall, gone. And next one pulls the tire off. He was like in cars. You ever see that forklift guy that changes
Guido.
the tire? Yeah, that's Peter. Bang, 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 bang. He hits all the lug nuts.
But you can't forget the signature hand jack too.
World's fastest arm,
Yeah.
Jordan Hawkers.
Yeah. Jordan Hawkers back there just pumping
Unreal.
away. Harbor Freight Special, man.
I think
It
These
was-
guys, but so every other time I've ever gone into the hot pit, it's gone horribly, and
But-
you end up riding around by yourself in no man's land. The rest of the pack half a lap ahead of you. But this time, I come up to the end of the pit wall, and all of a sudden, here comes the rest of the field getting ready to take a green at the halfway. And I was like, oh okay, goddamn, you know. And they waved me out, and I was like,
Yeah, we got the Jackrabbit
well,
start.
all right, here I am, right on the back of the tail of the field. I cheat out to the right just a little bit, get the slingshot, and I literally passed half the field in the first lap,
Yeah.
right through the barn turn. And that day we went from 22nd to 6th in a half a race. And that was awesome, man. That was cool. And that was all on
And they got it
pit
all right on the
slots.
broadcast too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Oh yeah. They had the pit. They had the whole tire change on the broadcast, and yeah, it was cool, man. Like that was 6th place is one of my best finishes. And to do it in only half a race is cool, man. Like that was sick. Those guys were awesome.
Yeah.
There is Allcox, and we'll see the race within the race in the hot pit area. It's so cool, especially in sportsman classes. You'll see a car pull in, and their crew will jump on it, and then they realize, other crews nearby will realize, hey, they need an extra hand, and you'll see guys wearing other colored shirts jump in, and
it's a big family.
All hands on deck. Everybody wants to keep all the cars out there on the racetrack.
See just the mud that gets tied up in the front windshields of these cars, and all the cars this weekend. I know it's a dry weekend, but when we put all that moisture on, it's hard to see, and you definitely have to have the right tear-offs that are on your shields. And some guys will put 10, 20, sometimes 30, 40.
There's all kinds of tricks you can use. Some guys will stash a rag under their leg, or
Right.
Start peeling their glove off a little bit and use the clean inside of the glove.
Whoa, man, look at this.
Wow, Fitzgerald got hard back into the back of Seatbelt, and him and Burns now are hooked up. Whoa, and we got one monster trucking in the back. That is Springstro. And then Hayward is...
100% the pit stop on that one.
Yes, that's without doubt. With borrowed crew and borrowed tire.
Yeah, you literally supplied none of this.
We only orchestrated it.
You just brought the flat in. Yeah, it's a terrible exchange program. So now we go into what we call restart. Mm-hmm. That's where, and it's a little word association game. So you guys can, whoever wants to blur out what they think first. Uh-oh, what we got going on down here?
We're doing a pit stop.
Oh, here.
Hot pit, bro. Is there any more beer?
Okay.
All right. Word association. And it's between the two of us. We got to race.
Yeah,
on it?
whoever wants to blur it out, it don't matter.
All right.
Okay.
And then
Hand-painted horse.
what?
Argument. Yeah,
Hold on. What are we doing? What's that? What are we trying to do?
a
Word association.
So what comes to mind when someone says hand-painted horse? You're not gonna get it. You didn't study enough.
Am I just something I'm supposed to
What's-
get?
Yeah.
Was there a horse or not?
I'm a firm believer that there was a horse.
Oh, no.
We have the debate going now.
So if you look closely at the hood of the Silver Bullet, there's
My father-in-law.
there's a bucking bronco on the tip of the hood, and it's because allegedly my father hand painted a bucking bronco on the hood of their Class 8 truck in 1980, early something,
79-ish.
and
Dave Hawkers said this never happened. He painted it on the hood of his own Bronco. The hood of the truck never had it. I believe Dave. My dad's... No, I don't know. I don't know, man. I wasn't there, but...
my dad's a body man. And,
It seems
and
like nonsense.
Allegedly painted this thing, so I believe in it, but I don't know. That's why there's a random bucking horse on the hood. Of it.
yeah, maybe we'll put it up on the wing.
Oh, that's not a
Oh,
bad
yeah.
idea. A little rebrand.
We're gonna move it up to the wing. If we can't find any sponsors to occupy
Yeah, we are
the
on
wing.
the hunt for a
We're
wing
looking
sponsor.
for a wing sponsor.
We have one lined up that's secret yet, but maybe something will maybe
I mean, I got
Fine.
a decal in $5.
it's better than the one we got.
If you can double it.
Oh, I could double it.
This is a bidding war. I like it.
$5.
We can have the
$5
whole
each.
wing say Dave.
Perfect. So next word is mud race.
2014 is what I think.
The light buggy mud
Yeah,
race.
there's a mud race so bad that Ben got stuck in the car. He couldn't even open the hood. He couldn't get out. He's just too wee of a lad.
This was
It was your rookie season, so it'd be 14.
yeah, it was my first year racing. I had no idea what I was doing. And we went to the starting line I think light buggy was the first race of the day because they asked us to vote if we wanted to race or not. And at that time, there was about 40 drivers in light buggy.
40 bumblebees.
Yeah.
And it was me, Canadian Tom, and Bo Ambos. And that was it. We're the only 3 that wanted to race. But they said if everybody says no, we'll cancel it. But if anybody wants to race, we're racing. And it was the 3 of us knuckleheads.
Why doesn't it shock me that Canadian
Tom said, I drove 12 hours to get here. I'm not going home without racing.
I can see that.
And me and Bo are just idiots. I don't know what to tell you. And we raced, and it was the fucking worst, dude. I got done. I'm driving through the pits. My buggy is totally sacked out, bottomed out because of so much weight from the mud. Kurt Leduc stops. He's walking through the pits. He sees me in my bottomed out buggy. Dude, he's taking a picture. Hilarious. Oh, so funny. Look at a picture of this guy. I crossed the finish line. I cannot see a goddamn thing. I had 1x1 wire mesh in the windshield. And I could not see anything. It was blocked out. I'm looking out the window. I'm trying to figure out where the fuck the track is. I finished 12th, and I just stop in the middle of the track. I'm just like, dude, I don't know, man.
Someone tell me, please.
Yeah. This dude with a yellow flag walks up and goes like this and like scrapes the windshield with the flag. And I can kind of see now. And I was like, and then he just kind of points me at turn 1. And I'm like, I'm going to drive a light buggy up turn 1, dude.
In the mud.
Yeah, right. So I just, bam, drop that fucker in second gear and float valves until I get to flat ground. Just roll, and it's smoking, dude. Unreal.
I'm spotting for that race, and at one point, they're all brown cars, you know? And I'm like, inside, and whatever, and all of a sudden Ben comes over there and goes, who are you watching? I'm stuck in the pond right now, dude. I was like, oh, okay, all right. I see you now.
I could definitely see that, though, because I was up in Spotter Tower. I forgot where it was, but it was in a side-by-side race, and all the Yamahas look the same.
Yeah, that's why you got to put a big goofy wing on the top.
Yeah. Big old wing, man. Fix that.
And they're
totally.
That retains all the mud.
You're right. This stool is getting bucky.
Someone's got a run coming out.
Holy smokes.
So Viper chairs, if you're listening, we need some new
Do you
rigs.
have a Viper chair?
Not yet.
You should get one. They're fantastic. I got one. I got 2 at work. I got 1 at home. They are.
You're a poster boy for them.
You know, he is, and I'm not. I have a Harbor Freight one, and I fall out of my chair all the time.
He's a poster boy too, crashing on his ass, trying to fucking drive his fucking chair around. No, they are literally the best chairs. I'm not sponsored. I don't get anything from them, but they are the best.
They are
It's
extremely
the kind of product.
wheelie. They wheel really well.
I did get a comment from Jenny the other day. I was sitting on my Viper chair in my garage, looking some shit up about my dirt bike, and it just takes off on me. And I am rolling down the driveway, out the garage, down the driveway, all the way to the road, looking at my phone. The Viper chairs are unbelievably rolly.
You turn into that can of Campbell's soup from the Super Bowl commercial that rolls like across the country.
Yeah.
That's how the
That's
things
a Viper
roll.
chair, man. But they are unreal. They're super good. It's the kind of product that you...
Made in
This
America.
isn't a Viper commercial,
gonna
but
be
it could be. But it is the type of product that you hand down to your children, and they hand down to their grandchildren because you're never gonna wear this thing out.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
the best. Yeah,
if you care about buying quality products, it's true. Because our dad has a Harbor Freight roll around chair or whatever, and I ain't getting that thing because she's cooked.
Yeah, you know? When he passes away, we're gonna throw that fucker in the trash. 'Cause it's done. That fucker's done.
All right, now that we got our paid sponsors out of the way,
Maybe we get a wing sponsor from Viper.
Viper, that's a good one.
there you go.
The Viper wing.
Ooh, there you go.
Oh,
You know,
that sounds nasty.
Viper, the snake, the winged tandem.
Can't forget the big Dave, though.
It's going to be tight between Viper or Dave.
$20 or a new chair. All right, next word association. Ziegler cat turn.
Tractor tires. I feel attacked. No, that's like we talked about earlier, man. That was a 2-minute or 2-foot mistake, and that was bit me good.
Absolute wicked heat from Dylan Parsons at the time. though.
It was. We were not fast in a place we probably shouldn't have been.
He led the whole race.
Yeah, actually,
It was you were coming into the white flag. Dylan was going to get you, but it was a locked up podium because third place was gone.
But instead, I almost rolled it into Dylan, which was kind of cool.
And then you roll it over, and then about 15 seconds later, he says to me over the radio, "Should I get out?" I was like, "No, you shouldn't get out, dude."
Yeah, that's true. Dude, when you're hanging around like that, it seems like forever. It was, although I gotta say, like, people are like, well, what was it like? Was it kind of weird, whatever, being upside down, whatever? It's like, no, I kind of anticipated this day coming for a long time. If you watch the video back, before I'm even done crashing that thing, I'm flipping switches like, son of a.
You've been practicing.
Yeah.
Hey,
It is kind of weird, though.
The first thing he says to me over the radio, "Did it look cool?" No, man. It looked a lot cooler when you were leading, you idiot. Like, what are you doing?
All right, next word. Barrel.
A fun, baby.
That's what I
Barrel of fun, baby.
It's a super, I don't know, what would you notorious, I guess, with our pit.
Notable.
It's a notable character of our whole program. It's a stupid barrel from like 1980 something too. My dad and his friend Dick Gilson bought them like around the same time, and Dick Gilson used his as a hand sink that was in a porta potty that they built out of a Ford Festiva.
Little did you know that's the one that he gave back to you guys.
And that's the one I got. So
I've drank out of that thing.
So if you're crying and drinking out of the barrel, you have no idea. Yes,
but
who
those
knows?
things are literally old as dirt. And so yeah, we have one that my parents had, and then there's the one that was a sink, like you'd soap your hands up and hit the button. But yeah, so we mixed up these, like, they're 2-gallon drink coolers, like you'd see dumped on a head coach of a football team, but we mix up like 2 gallons of whatever drink we decide to come up with. Tavia has one that's like a caramel apple that's kind of notorious, but otherwise we just pick like a common theme like red, and then everything that goes in is red, and that's drinks up.
I like it. I've had it.
Podium punch.
I've had it a bunch.
Much.
So, well, we lost one intermittently here, but what would you consider a successful season?
Oh man, I don't know. It's, again, like we talked about earlier, single buggy's full of dogs, man. So like if you have like a top 5 in points at the end of the season, that's doing good. If you have a even one podium finish or several, that I think that's another really good thing too. And if you don't tear up too much stuff, the sport's expensive enough as it is, so why make it any worse? I think at least for us, that's a good one for us. We've been pretty fortunate with DNFs, and there's certain people out there that think a season without DNFs is good, and it is. But we do a pretty good job on prep, so for the most part, we don't really see much of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think other than that, we probably hit it a couple times, but just to cap off, like, what was the most memorable moment in your racing career?
I would say probably when Ben got third.
Yeah, me too.
The old Vince Lombardi quote, like if you when you get in the end zone, act like you've been there before. We acted like we never even heard of that thing.
We were out of control, dude.
The whole time. So I had a race quad as a pit vehicle at the time, and so Ben's like just coming off the finish line, and I'm like, he's wrapping around on what would be the side-by-side cutoff at the time, and I come flying up next to him, and I'm like just banging the rev limiter on that quad, and then we get out of the car, he gets out of the car. I'm like, hey dude, did you hear me? I was just banging the chip. I was so excited, whatever. He goes, no dude, I couldn't hear you because I was just banging the chip. And everybody just looks at us like, you got third, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's
no,
that video or a meme on the internet where the guy's got a champagne bottle, he's
Right.
blasting himself in the face. That was us.
Yeah, dude, I got third, and we celebrated like we won the Daytona 500. Man, it was out of control. But yeah, I think that's probably my most memorable.
Yeah, that would be
That's
one that I
awesome.
would definitely think back on when it's all said and done.
That
and the
was
dust settles.
unreal, dude.
So as we close this thing up, is there anything else that you guys want to touch on? Or do you think you spoiled enough secrets?
I don't know. I think we covered pretty much everything we got going on. We're simple people.
Yeah. So,
Dude, man,
Oh,
over here's looking
um,
at a list again.
oh, he's going
Whoa.
to pop the list off again.
Chad Horde for Pro 2.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you?
Chad Horde was undiscussed in Pro 2. We came up with him during the break. That's ridiculous. I mean, he was a legend.
He's one of a short list of people that have won a cup race in a Pro 2.
Yeah.
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 I think anybody that does that is notable. Obviously, track conditions are a big
It's
part
probably
I,
who has all won in a Pro 2. So Keegan,
Keegan.
CJ.
Yeah. Has he?
Scott Taylor.
I think CJ decided to run his Pro 2 1 year and win.
Early on.
I think.
Scott Taylor for sure has. I think Rob Mack probably has.
Rob Mack was always Pro 4. I don't remember a lot of Rob Mack Pro 2 stuff.
So it's pretty limited then.
Yeah, it's a short list. We're obviously not historians, so it's hard to say. But
Well, you've been around the track long enough, you might know.
I wasn't paying attention long enough.
True.
So, who do you think we should interview next?
I guess keeping it small and keeping it sportsman, I think the Lemke pit's a good one. I think Todd Lemke's been around a long time, man, and he did a lot of different stuff, and he's done well.
Todd, Jaden,
Jaden's
Mark,
a good
and
one.
Evan.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that would be kind of a good one.
That's
Those
too
could
many.
maybe-
We got it's only 4 seats, but
Yeah,
if
you
we
maybe have to
could,
do different
Jaden
fathers,
and Evan, maybe
father,
just-
son, or do it that way. That's a lot of people don't know, but the pit we race out of is mostly comprised of second generation racers, so it's kind of an interesting dynamic.
Well, even for them, that extends grandparents even raced.
Really,
Yep.
I didn't realize that.
I'm pretty positive. Don't quote me on that now that I think about it. I'm pretty positive.
We're quoting you.
Seems like nonsense. This
You have official tagging. You should know it all. Alrighty. Well, then I think that concludes our, like I predicted in the beginning, a very fun and funny moments of an interview. So
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate
yeah,
it.
we really
It's fun.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then we hope to see you guys have a successful season and make it to Dirt Fest.
and maybe
Keep it
some
together.
of the champ races, as long as we keep our
At
shit
least we
together.
if we could maybe make it to the dunes.
Alrighty. Thank you for joining.